Alright, we are back with part 2, and this time, rather than doing the turn in place check logic right now, we're going to go ahead and create our animation. We're going to set up our animation graph. So go over here to your anim graph, under your third person anim BP, and just Control X this. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer, and we're going to call it the base layer. And you really don't need to Control X that. You could have left it there on the anim graph, but over here we're going to paste this back in over here. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to do a new save catch pose right here. So off of that, we're just going to call it Locomotion Cycles, because that's what it is. It's basically the same thing as the ALS version of in locomotion cycles. So I'm just going to stick to their naming convention for this. So off of here we're going to right click and do a new state machine. Add new state machine. We are going to rename this to Locomotion States. And we can actually probably go ahead and plug that in. Control Q there. Q there. And then we're going to come in here, and off of the first one we are going to do add a state, and it's going to be a not moving state. And then off of here we are going to do a moving state, and coming back we're going to do a stop state, and we are going to go from the stop state back to the not moving state, and from the moving back to the not moving state. Actually, I'm going to move this around a little bit so you can see it better. We can readjust those later, but for now I'm just going to put it like that. So from on the not moving state, we're going to go to our asset browser, and we are going to look for the ALS in pose. And actually, let's do something else here real quick. So let's go back to our mannequin animations folder, and you'll see that transitions and turn in place, we both have the same pose here. So I'm going to delete this pose, and it's going to tell me that, hey, these are using it. Do you want to replace, or do you want to force delete it? We are going to replace. Just type in ALS in pose, just as this one's named, and hover over this, and yep, that's the one under our transitions folder. So now we will replace references and just press OK. It's going to force close that. That's alright. So I'm just going to create a new folder here. I'm going to call it poses, and I'm going to move this ALS in pose over here. Now with that being done, we can go back into here, open it back up, and over here you'll see now we only have one ALS in pose. So I'm going to drag that out, and I'm going to right click and convert to single frame animation. We will leave that at 0. That's fine. Let's see. Now we need to do a modify curve. And when we are not moving, we want to first off unexpose the alpha, and then right click on the dead space and go to add curve, and we're going to add a footlock left and a footlock right and an enable transition. So this is just where it's going to turn the footlocking on and the transition on. So the enable transition is going to be for our transitions. So you see here. Because when we're not moving, we want to make sure that our feet are locked down and our enable transition is turned on. So off of this, we are going to do a default slot, or just type in slot, default slot. And now we are going to go to our Anim Slot Manager. If you don't have that, go to Window and Anim Slot Manager right here. Now go to Group, just type in default group. There'll be a duplicate, just delete that one. And then we are going to create another one. We will call it Turn Rotation. And now we will set this to turn rotation. That way we can, any turn rotation animations that we play will be played on this slot right after this. And let's see, we need to do one more modify curve off of this. Right here after the turn rotation slot. And we are going to unexpose this. And we are going to add a curve. We are going to add rotation amount. And from here we need a value here. We will call it promote to variable. And we will call it rotation scale. Now we can move this over here. As you've seen in my last video, I explained this. We need to change this to scale, by the way. This other one we can leave at blend. And what this is going to do is it's going to modify the scale of our rotation amount curve, so that when we speed up or slow down an animation, the curve will be adjusted accordingly without like messing it up. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's go back. That's our not moving logic. Now we can go ahead and let's see. We'll go ahead and do our moving logic. Now off of this one, right click and type in Locomotion Cycles, the catch pose that we created earlier from the default state. And just plug that up, and that's all we're doing there. Now let's see, off of this one we need we will open this one up, and we need to drag our should move off of here. Actually, you can just plug that straight up into there. And then go back, and we need to, let's see, we'll set the duration to 0.3. And we are going to promote this to shared. And let's see, we will call it moving. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Or let's call it should move. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it should move. Okay. No. I'm gonna call it moving. All right. Yeah, because all right, that might be misleading. So let's see. Is there anything else I need to do here? No. So over here on this one, the one that's coming back, we're going to set this to a priority of 2 because we want the moving to stop to take to be taken into account before this one is. So this will be a second rule just to catch anything that slips through here. Let's see, so this is going to be a should move not. And let's see. Okay, yeah, there's something else that I need here too. So I need to a start transition event, and we will call this quick stop. I just use those little arrows because that's how they do it, but in actuality you could just call it quick stop, and that'll work. So we'll set this up here in a minute. So with the quick stop out of the way, we are going to do the moving to stop transition rule. And that will be should not move as well. In actuality, we probably could have shared this one with the other one, and you can probably do that. But I've already done this, set this part up, so I'm just going to roll with it. For this one, we want a duration of 0. We don't want no blend between moving and stop here. And then from the stop to the not moving. Oh, you know what? I forgot something over here on this one. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, let's see. We need to get the state weight of moving, and we need to see, is it equal to 1? And we should not move is true. So what this is doing is we're getting the state weight. So if we're in the moving state and we should not move, then stop moving without a blend. And what this is doing is it's making sure that we're not only partially blended into the state weight, that it waits until we are fully stopped. I mean, until we are fully moving. So when we're moving from not moving to moving, we use a blend of 0.3, and so it'll slowly climb from when we're transitioning from here to here, the moving state will slowly climb from 0% to 100%, or a value of 0 to 1. And we want to make sure that it reaches 1, that is fully blended in, before this number 1 priority rule can fire. And that's how that's working. Okay, so now we'll do another state weight right here from stop, and make sure that's equal to 1, which it should be because we have a blend value of 0. But there's other stuff that's going on inside there, so it may not be the case that it's 1 all the time, you know. Okay. Now we are going to set the duration of this to 0.3, I should say. And now we can move this back over here, make it look tidier, I guess. Looks a little clustered to me, but we'll do it anyway. So now we're going into the stop state. We need another state machine here. So do another state machine. Let me go back. I want to rename that. I'm going to name it stop states. And then we will go into it. So our first one's going to be an add state. And then we're going to do conduits off of that. So this is going to be a pre-stop. And then we are going to do a add conduit. And the first one is going to be, let's see, foot down. Let's do foot down first on this one. And then we'll do foot up over here. And this is kind of like I guess kind of like a sequence. So if you hold over it and hold Control Alt, it'll tell you that, you know, like the transition went into a conduit. You could perform a series of checks to see how the player was killed, shot, stabbed, explosion, hit by, or whatever, and branch from there into various independent death states, such as explosion death, shot death, anvil landed on head death, so on and so forth. So that allows us to have these not have transition rules, and that's why we don't have to do anything right here for these, but we do have to, well, for the blend values and stuff, I mean. But over here we still need a we need to check the curve value. So get curve value, and then here type in feet underscore position, just like I did with capital F, capital P. And what this is going to do is we're going to have these curves that we're going to be checking to see what position the feet are in, and I'm going to explain that to you. This is so that we can plant our feet if the foot isn't on the ground. And actually, I wasn't going to do this part, but you know, I thought it was pretty cool, and I just discovered exactly how it was all working on this part. So you're going to learn a little extra here. So drag off of this and get the absolute value. Set the absolute value, and this curve value is going to be from -1 to 1. It's going to be negative if it's the left foot, positive if it's the right foot. But for this particular one, we need to do an absolute value and see, is it greater than or equal to 0.5. And so if it's greater than or equal to 0.5, then the foot is on the ground and we can lock it. Or we can set it to lock. Yeah, and for the foot up, it's going to be similar. So actually, you know what? Let's go back and go to this other one and just copy this part right here, the curve value in absolute. Except this one is going to be less than 0.5. Sorry about my OCD here. Okay, so that out of the way, we need two states. The first one will be lock left foot, and the second one will be lock right foot. And let's see. So For this one, I'm just going to paste that in, except we don't need the absolute value, so copy the get curve value. We're using that again. Now for the left foot, if the value is less than 0, and I'm going to try not to be OCD free for a little bit. And then for the right foot, if it's greater than 0, okay, I said I wasn't going to. Alright, so lock left foot. Okay, so for this one, we want to get our locomotion cycles. And you can go ahead and copy that. In fact, go ahead and copy that and paste it in the other one as well. And let's go ahead and make these two as well, because we're going to have to copy and paste those over there as well. So for this state, this will be the plant left foot. And then add another state and plant right foot. We may as well go ahead and get that out of the way so we don't have to go back and forth. It'll save us a little trouble. So back over here in the lock left foot, from the locomotion cycles, we're going to do a modified curve. And we are going to unexpose the alpha, right click on the blank space, and we are going to add a foot lock left. Yeah, foot lock left, and we're going to turn that on to 1. So we'll be doing, obviously we'll be doing the foot lock and the other stuff in another video. We're not going to do that on this one. And then do another modify curve. And again, unexpose the alpha. But this time we're going to add foot lock right and set that to 1. So this one, let's see. Just bear with me. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. These. Go ahead and go back over here and copy this. And in fact, you may as well copy that less than, because the less than will be for the left foot here. Yeah. In fact, we could probably promote these to shared values. I think that's what they did. Yeah, they did. So promote this to shared value, call it left foot. Promote this to a shared value, call it right foot. And then use left foot and use right foot. But for these, we're going to have a blend time of 0.1, and on these two up here we're going to have a blend time of 0.0. So when we lock our feet, we don't want there to be a blend time, but when we're planting our feet, that means our foot is not on the ground, we're moving it to the ground. We want there to be a blend duration, a slight one. That's why we're using 0.1. So let's see, Now we need to do our plant. Yeah, we need to do our plant left foot and plant right foot. So we need to do a layered blend per bone off of this. And let's go ahead and set up our layers. So go to layer setup, branch it out or expand it. Go to branch filters and add 2 members here. For the first one, we're going to call it IK foot L, and it's going to be 0. And for the next one, we're going to do thigh L and 0. And all that's doing is it's making sure that we're only blending this for the legs, for the left leg in this case, and on the other one for the right leg. But we're using IK foot as well because we want to make sure that the IK feet are also being blended because those are part of the animation. Also we want mesh space rotation right here because mesh space works best for lower body stuff, whereas local space works best for arms. So, okay, now we need to go to our asset browser and drag out our third person walk. And right click on it and convert to single frame. And for mine, I used a value of 0.85, I think. Let's see, open it up and I will explain this to you, and I'll also explain this feet position curve that I made and how I made it or came to those values. It took some investigation there into it. Okay, so 0.87 is right here. So that's when the foot is on the ground. You see, that's around the time we want. When the left leg is forward and on the ground, that's when we want to plant the left foot. Or that's when we want to blend this into plant left foot, because the foot is going to be up in the air and we want to blend between the current locomotion cycle where it's up in the air and the point at which it's down and on the ground, planted, as you may. And that's why I came up with this explicit time. So we're going to do the same thing for the other foot. Let's see. Wait, am I missing anything? Yes, I am. Okay. So we need to do a modify curve here. And unexpose this. Right click on the dead space. And we are going to, let's see. We're locking our left foot. Right, foot lock left. So after we've blended this right here, we're locking the foot. So with that one out of the way, let's do this one. In fact, you can copy, well actually you can copy all of these over. We'll just change what we need to. So we're just changing this L to an R and this thigh L to a thigh R. And now for this one we want a value of 0.33. And again, if you come over here and you move along the timeline to 0.33 right here, you'll see that's when the right foot touches the ground, or around about. Actually, 0.34 is actually probably better. So let's do that, 0.34. And you might have to play around with these values to perfect it or whatever, you know. So go ahead and right click on this one and remove this pin. Right click and refresh it. Now right click and go to add curve and footlock R, and we will change that to a 1. And now, let's see. Foot down conduit rule. Oh, right. I thought I did that one. Did I do it on something else? Oh, yeah, no, there it is. Oh, right. Okay, so the conduit rules. Alright, so the conduit rules. Let's do those. Right, right. So the conduit rules. Okay, we just need to check yes on these. True. So they'll always be true. Alright, and let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I will see y'all in part 3. Oh, my bad, guys. So it completely slipped my mind. I was going to go over how the feet position curve works. So I'll open this one up and let's come over here to the animation base, right, locomotion. So if we open up a walk forward one for them, I'll show you. So they're using 0.2 values, negative 0.2 values when the left leg is forward and up. So you see it's up and it's forward, and when it's about planted on the ground right here, then they set it to a value of -1, and that's when your left foot is forward and down, and then when your right foot is forward but up, it's gonna forward but up, it's going to be positive 0.2. And then when the right foot is forward and down, it's +1. And then left foot forward and up, you see. And that's how they're doing it. So they do not have an automated animation modifier for this. So I had to do it by hand. And you'll see. And these values might not be perfect. I might have to end up tweaking them a little bit. We'll see when we're close to done. I did not realize that this was part of the system before I started making this, so I had to stop and figure it out. Another good reason why why I'm doing these videos in parts now. So you'll see that's just -1, +1. And I had to turn off toggle time snapping to put these in the positions I put them in. So by default that's on. You have to click off of it right there. Now you can right click on these and set them to constant. They're all going to need to be constants. And yeah, that's it. Alright.